Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we're here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada, over here on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And we are also in the clubhouse. And so we want to welcome you guys to the conversation. Today's conversation is all about the emotions of money. And Coach Karen's going to be talking to us about selfishness, which is an interesting topic. Meanwhile, I want to give a shout out to my partner, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva, and to our moderator in the clubhouse, Miss Elizabeth Green. Thank you.
Liz.
Good morning, Liz. How you doing this morning in the clubhouse?
I am doing fine, ready to assist and moderate for you.
That is so kind. Well, Coach, we know that you've been talking to us about different emotions attached to our money. And I really wasn't familiar with this. I really hadn't tuned into this till you started talking to us about it a couple of years ago. What is it that you want to share with us? How you doing, Robin? Robin's over here in Facebook.
Hi, Robin.
My live stream. What is it about us and money that brings out these different emotions? And why it's selfish?
That entity stirs up every and anything. Even when money wasn't the actual money, even when it was chickens or whatever it was that was exchanged, it still had this.
Okay, so commerce stirs up something in us.
Mm-hmm. It stirs it up.
The kids say feel a certain kind of way.
Certain kind of way, yeah. And now it's money, right? And today we're talking about selfishness. Why is being selfish a good thing? And the first time somebody talked about being selfish, to me, it wasn't in the terms I'm really getting at, but I understood where she was coming from, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Because it saves lives. Why we need to be selfish? That emotion got such a negativity forever and ever. So if you're selfish, and it depends on where we're using it. People bad connotation. You're selfish. You're not giving. You're not you're not sharing. You're not whatever. But so many of us. I'm emotional.
Carlos is in the house. How you doing, Carlos?
Hi, Carlos.
Hey, we're also in Clubhouse, Carlos. So if you want to, talk, you can let us know. It says I'm not emotional with my money. Otherwise, it will lead to sloppy spending. Ah, okay. Well, it depends on which emotion, right?
Think about it. I'm going to just differ for a bit, but if you're one of the things, if you're trading stocks or you're doing any investment, you need to get your emotion under control before you're able to do it. This part is big. It's because when somebody loses money and they weren't emotionally ready, they just go crazy. That's why some people don't save. That's why some people don't invest, because an incident happened and they didn't deal with that feeling, that emotion. So everything they blame on that. My son had a friend who her mom said, I would never buy a house. So they live in an apartment their whole lives. She had 4 or 5 kids. They had 2 apartments in one building. The kids are the craziest thing, because she wouldn't buy a house simply because somebody, I don't know if her mom or aunt, had a house and they didn't manage the money well, of course, so they lost the house. And she had this belief that if she buy a house, she's going to lose the house. But an apartment, she'll always have it once you compare rent. The craziest thing, okay? But you couldn't explain it to the woman because this was her belief and she wasn't moving from it. So, and she had more kids, and they got bigger. They end up also renting until one of them probably went to some seminar and realized that this is not true. But mom was saying all this all along. I could really buy a house. Like I got my education, I got a good job, I could buy a house. And the kid went and buy a house. Yeah, she never moved. She stayed in that apartment. She was panicked that if she bought a house, she's going to lose the house. And that played over and over with her feelings. You couldn't bring out home ownership to her. She freaked out.
My goodness. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, yeah, our emotions do affect how we look at how we handle our money.
How we handle our money. It
And,
does.
and
It
it, our emotions. Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say our emotions affect how we do business, because we're all about our experiences, and those things impact our emotions.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really
Wow.
impacts how we feel, how we operate, how we do business. You know,
Mhm.
some people do it from so many angles. I mean, I've encountered so many angles now that I used to say this among, but now because of just so many different clients, I've just learned new people, new ways of how people think, and new processes that got them to this place. And this place, although it might be the place they want to be, it's kind of their safe zone, and they don't want to do anything to jeopardize this safe feeling that they think they're in, which means, as I said to one client, if you stay here, then this is all you'll be. You can't be anything else if this is the only place you're at and you're now willing to make this next move. Remember, you don't have to get to the end game right away. You just have to make the very next move. That's all I'm asking. Take this money and make the next move, regardless of what happened. Look at it. If you didn't win in the next move, you learn a lesson. So that's your learning curve. You didn't fail. You learned something that you wouldn't do again. And if it involved losing money, just understand the feeling that came with it, why
Mhm.
it happened. Let's dissect it so that you'll know to handle it differently when this happens again. But today we're talking about selfishness, about being selfish with your money. It's a good thing. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. You know, if somebody's a drug addict and you're giving them your money, you're washing it down the drain. So you can be selfish with your money. If you're the kind of mom who buy your kids a whole bunch of things, right, and that's saving lives right away, but you buy your kids a whole bunch of things, but you buy nothing for yourself, you are being unselfish. There's a point where you need to be selfish with yourself. The reason you're giving your kids everything, there's some kind of emotion that's playing in the background that you haven't dealt with. That's why you think your kids need to have everything and you nothing. You have decided that you're not worthy of anything. So you are giving it all away because you don't see
Oh
your
my
own
gosh.
self-worth. And so many parents, you know, so many parents give away everything and say, I'm doing this all for my kids. If it wasn't for my kids, everything I have is for my kids. Like, stop it right this minute. No, you're alive. So some is for your kids, yes, but not everything. Because if you give them everything, what would you have? Plus, you're teaching them that you're not worthy. And
Wow.
when you see kids treat their parents a certain ways, because you've established that within them younger, but you don't understand that you have. And this continuous thing just keep growing and growing until it,
Oh my goodness.
you know,
Goodness.
paper.
Now, Cecily says you were talking about money and how we do things. She says consistency is important. And then Carlos says over here on the live stream, for me, I have what I need that money can provide. If I die, it won't be buried with me. Good job, Carlos, because we're supposed to be distribution centers. Things are supposed to move through us.
Mm-hmm.
And Jill's here from the breathing space. Hey,
Good
Jill.
morning, Jill.
Good morning, Coach Caren and Terry says. So yeah, I love that, Carlos. I don't want it to go with me either. And in fact, I'm going as far as to declutter my house so that if something were to happen, my kids don't have that charm of having to clean out the house. I mean, really deep clean out. You know how you got stuff from when the kids first went to kindergarten? I mean, stupid stuff. Okay. Go ahead, Coach. Tell us about this selfishness, because I
You don't gotta tell me, when I got my first grandson, the girl, the baby's mom, she said to me, she says, I just wanted something from Paul when he was a baby so that I can have for my baby. I said, girl, wrong lady, ain't got none.
you know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Keep it circulating, right, Carlos? Keep it circulating.
I got pictures and I got the things that's important for him, and I'm gonna be there for all the important moments. But
And that's what I did. I took a picture and tossed it. You know what I'm saying?
But all the stuff, no. Corona last year, I wasn't able to give as much, but every year I give anywhere between 3 to 4 times a year. I gave away to the Red Cross, wherever. I just gather and I just let it go. I change my wardrobe, I let it move, I let it pass through. And the thing with me is I don't want to give away things that people can't use until it's
Exactly.
done. No,
Oh,
I'm
wait
going to
till
give
they're
it where
useless
it's
out of
used.
style.
Exactly, there's
What
use
is that about?
in it. I want to give it, okay?
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
so yeah, today we talk about selfishness, and it's good to be a little selfish because when little selfishness, what people look at selfishness really is you taking care of yourself. It really
Ah,
is the
are
self
we being
care.
selfish or is it self-care? Now,
Self-care, but I'm using selfishness because that's the word that the vocabulary that so many moms have used before, grandmas has used before. And I had a cousin used to say, don't wait till you're old to use it all up. Use it
oh yeah.
along the way. Enjoy it along the way. And sometimes we don't even realize subconsciously that we're doing it. We don't realize that we are not living up to our self-worth. We get into this place of just giving, and giving is great, but we give and then we don't have enough for ourselves. You know, when I get to somebody who we're dealing really with the bare bottoms of money and the money is not coming in, and
Mm.
we set up a budget and we're talking about giving, I always have it side by side. Here's what you give and here's what you save. Here's what you give and here's what you save. You're not selfish to save immediately alongside you give it. Because if you don't save, you can't invest. If you don't
Wow.
save, you can't get to the place you say you want to be at. You know, money is not everything, sure, but
But
it's hard to get there.
peace of mind is a great thing to have. Here we go. Now, Robin says, Ken Honda, I can't pronounce that, something in and out. Love to give your money, but just as much as you love to receive it.
Mhm.
Okay. And then Cecily says, I call it self full, FUL, instead of selfish.
Ah,
I
look
love
at
that.
yeah.
Oh, Cecily, you had a home run on that. That was really good.
I like that one. I never heard of it.
Mhm. Oh, yes. And see, Robin says the same thing. I like that self full.
Oh,
We like it, Cecily. Oh, my goodness. We better come
that's a
on
word, girl. That's a word. That's a word. I'm loving that word. I'm writing it down.
and bring that.
Because
That
guess
is
what?
beautiful.
Sometimes you forget when you
We
finish
got to pay
writing.
you for this. No, geez.
You write it right away so you don't forget. Self-full.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
so important, you know. And it's as a mom. So let me go on the mom token side. You know, it's hard. It's hard when you think when you want to give out. Look, my daughter just started her own little. Well, she's trying to see if this is something she wants to do. And every ounce of me last week, she did this Valentine's something box. She called it Toronto, and she did. You know, she got her first set of sales. It was great. People took pictures. She got testimonial. But when she first came to me, she said to me, "This is what I want to do. This is how much I want to invest." I said, "Okay, come on, let's talk." And she never came. And part of me wanted to just bring her to my office and say, here is how you laid out. Here's what needs to happen. And I had to control myself and allow myself to not give her this information. Let me tell you, it took everything inside of me
Oh,
to
no.
not tell her how this can go right, because she has to want to come to me. She has to want to let me in. But I know she wanted to do it on her own and figure it out. So we had a good laugh because, you know, Sunday I had to ask the question, so how did you do? How was profit? She goes, Mom, I made $10 and I know I should have talked to you, but I made $10.
Okay. All right. So now the question is, how can we multiply this? I love it.
But she made her own $10. No, she knows she made mistakes. She knows she could have done better.
Mhm.
She understood. But I had to look after myself in the sense of not going after her and
Mhm.
scrutinizing and making sure it's right. Now, had I gone there, she'd have break even. But she had to get this experience. And this is what we have to do as parents. And we have to do this as service providers. When we get a client, let's talk business now. When we get a client and we are positioning and helping them get to where they need to be, we have to allow them this space and time. We have to allow them this time to learn a little bit. This is
Mhm.
very hard as a coach. This is very hard as a teacher. This is very, very hard as a person. This is what I do. But you have to allow that person that time. You're not selfish. You're allowing them, or selfful. You're not taking, you're not being selfish when you don't give to them what you have. You're allowing them their space and time in their journey. And when
Mhm.
they're fully understand, when they're fully in that time now and they're open, you can now walls in, because the door is open and allowing you to come in and help them fix and move and situate. One of the biggest problems for mom and new business owners, we want to go in and fix it right away. We want to go in and make everything right. You got to pull back. You got
That
to
is so
step
true. That is so true. Now we have a few comments. I just want to give a shout out here to Donna from Green Earth Travel. She's in
back.
you know, we love her. Guys, you got to check out Donna. I'm sure that the industry is coming back and people are booking cruise a year in advance. So check out Donna. She is all about vegan travel. And she says, wow, this is a great discussion. Liz is over there in Clubhouse. Liz, if you have something you want to say in Clubhouse, just unmute yourself and we'll be glad to hear from you. And anyone else who's over in the Clubhouse. Right now, it doesn't look like they have quite joined us yet, but I just want to remind them that we are recording this. But here's the thing, Coach, you have so many profound things. And as mothers, we really do need to unlearn some stuff. And as parents, we need to unlearn some things. And as entrepreneurs, so we get all these different hats.
Mhm.
And when we get into them, sometimes the things that don't creep into the business may creep into our personal life and vice versa.
Yes.
How do we get the whole thing, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
is it just a matter of practice?
It's a matter of practice, but understanding. One of the hardest things for human being
Mm,
is to be able to be in the moment of that specific thing and don't do anything else. Just that specific thing. And I used to initially had my clients wear different hats. I think I talked about it before, where they'll put on a hat and they're only being the sales mood. So this is all they're handling. And then they'll put on a hat if they're in the parent mood, and they'll put on hats to suit. Really just a slip of paper, staple it around, and just stick it on your head. Just holding this piece of thing there changes how you think about it. It feels so simple and so silly, but it really changes you, because this is all you're doing at the moment. And you have to, here's the other thing, you have to know every step of that thing that you're going to do. The minute you don't know, your mind is going to waver and it's going to send you off in a different direction. So case in point, if you're doing sales, you're talking to a client, you have marketed them before, you're just reminding them, you're giving them a price, maybe you're sending out a contract to be signed. If you didn't get a hold of them, what's the next step? All these things should be laid out. So when you get to your desk, this is all you're doing. You're not on Facebook unless it's through Messenger. You're not on Instagram. You're where you say you're going to be. That's the only place you need to be. Before we had social media, you would be meeting somebody and talking to them about sales. That's it. You would not be doing anything else. So stay in your sales state, because that's when you're going to close the sale. Also, if you're thinking about social media, if you're thinking about the kids didn't have any food to eat, then you can't close the sale. So then you eventually not going to feed them anyway. Stay
mm,
in the state of sale. And the only thing you're doing is selling that item, whatever that item is. Be present. I used to sell for my mom a long time ago, and she would, she'd send me out to sell. She always was amazed when I come back and everything is sold out. And I get there, and it didn't matter what you're telling me. Caren, you're looking pretty. I like your skirt. I like your dress. Okay, but are you going to buy 2 packs of my mom's mitai? That's
stay focused. Stay focused. So Maureen says, good morning. How you doing, Maureen? Well, we're talking about money and selfishness. When we think about money, Coach, many times the little things that our parents said to us from kindergarten pop into our mind. Do you have enough for everybody? You're just selfish. Don't be like that. Share, 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 share.
mm-hmm.
To the point where that's the only thing we think about.
Yeah. And you feel good. You feel good when you give.
Mm-hmm.
And so selfishness is the opposite feeling of that if you have allowed it. But if you understand that you are holding on to your self-worth and you see it differently, that's why self seems really great, because you're filling you up. You really understand that you're not being selfish. You're looking after yourself, because when you look after you, you could look after other people. I've got 3 kids, I've got grandkids. And when I first start looking after myself, like really truly looking after me, I got a lot of flack from my husband. I'm going to sit there and try to pretend. But I stood my ground and I said, it's just Caren time. And it didn't really matter what you say. It's Caren time. And it's no fault in him, because that's what he's used to. That's what people are used to. You leave what you're doing because your kid cried out or something happened. No. You pay attention and you take that over into your business. So you set a time with your clients, but then they reach out to you and it's this big emergency that's not really is, and you're fighting to get over there. But truly, was it an emergency? And did you, now this is your responsibility, did you take the time to let them know how things are going to play out, so they understand where the emergency lies, how they can contact you, when you get back to them, so they're not feeling like you don't care for them as a client? You do, but you got you the business owner, and we have to state that in 24 hours I'll get back to you. In 72 hours, my answer machine used to say that for my next business. I said, we'll get back to you in 24 hours, or in some situations 72 hours. No, we can get back to you in an hour or two, but we want you to know that it might take a day or two.
This is interesting. This is really interesting. Donna says, I don't have grandkids. Okay, Donna, but there is someone in your life that you care about, and, we're just generalizing here.
Yes.
So my question becomes, guys, are we selfish? Are we being selfish? Or are we being self-full?
We got that word today. We got that word today. And the reason I sell selfishness is a good thing and it can save lives is because some people give away so much of their selves, their soul, their whole being, that they're dying slowly and they don't know how to stop it. In so many different categories, they get really sad and lonely, and they can't believe this has happened to them when they themselves has given away their self-worth. They've given away what is their core. Because as Terry was saying, kindergarten, your mom, your dad, whoever had said, share with your cousins, let them have peace.
No, Fern does not have grandkids. She's too young. Laugh out loud. Okay, Donna, thank you so much for the compliment. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So I am just really excited about the fact that we are even talking about this whole issue of selfishness. I'm going to ask Elizabeth over here on Clubhouse to weigh in on this subject. Liz, you want to give us a couple of comments here? Let me see if she can unmute herself.
She's muted.
You hear her laughing like, where is the button over here on Clubhouse?
The case, I had to but remember how to unmute myself. When Caren was talking about certain things that as you grow older, that people expect, they expect in certain cultures, and that's something that I had to wrestle with. In certain cultures, after a certain age, for you to put all of your desires on the shelf and you are now to serve, you have to become selfish or self-full and really decide what's important for you. Because just because you've reached 55, 60, 70 as I have, that does not mean that you still don't have good information to give out. And you have to really be selfish with determining what's important for you.
Thank you.
You do, especially grandmas. When you turn to grandma, people think you shouldn't be doing anything more other than looking after the grandkids. In some cultures, Liz,
Oh, yes. We remember that, Elizabeth, like Caren was saying, once you retire and you are a grandparent, some people already have an assignment for you. Unfortunately for them, we turned out not to be our grandparents, okay, where they retired and many of them went and sat on the porch. That was because their bodies were worn out, because they came along in a time of manual labor and agriculture, right?
Yes.
Correct. And also, we still are living long. We are living longer, and in living longer, and especially for me, because I did not work a traditional job. I have been self-employed for the last 20, 30 years. I have not had to wait for retirement. And when people wait for retirement, it's like at a certain age, then you sit on the bench and you take care of kids. That is not my vision of being selfish. That is not my vision of how I wish to live the rest of my life. And I think it's very important for us, especially as women, to be selfish or self-full with knowing what's important for us and what makes us happy, and still be able to help our family out.
There you go. I think the whole thing of people having an assignment waiting for you because they think, okay, your career is winding up. Oh, grandma's going to be home alone, or grandpa's going to be home alone, and we need to help them out by dumping our kids over there. Well, see, that was never the plan. And I had already started to transition while I was still at the end of my career. I transitioned into figuring out what it was I wanted to do.
What comes next?
To refire myself so that I would be full.
Right.
Because I knew that I would have that space. The first thing I did, I don't know about the rest of y'all, and y'all might think this is selfish, but the first thing I did was spend 6 months doing nothing but working on my health. I got a personal, got myself a personal trainer. And all I did was go to the gym, eat right, and make sure I worked on myself, because it was something I really had neglected over the years, to the point where
you need it.
Yeah, where I needed it, you know what I mean? Or even acknowledge that I could afford it, needed it, could afford the time, all of that stuff.
Yes.
And then I also made the commitment that I would not make a decision about what to do with my time until after that first year.
Yes.
Start making commitments right away. And people would come to you, oh, you got time, That is,
and then people get resentful because that's not their plan. So they get resentful, like, how dare you decide, what happened with my time? I could be selfish and just sit here all day and do nothing, and that's okay.
Yes. Is that really selfish, folks, or is that filling yourself after being depleted for so many years? Some of us woke up and didn't know who we were.
Yes.
We morphed into what everybody wanted us to be. Liz is laughing over there. Does that make sense?
It's self-care. It's really self-care, and not having other people define us. And you defining who you are. What's important to you. And I think it's very, very critical, especially as women, to remember how what makes us happy, what gives us joy. And then we take that to our clients if we're working by ourselves, or take that to our families. But we've got to, selfish is self-care, and it is not bad. You say you sat by yourself and just for a year didn't have anybody tell you what to do. It's important that we, especially as women, do not put ourselves at the end of the line.
Exactly. Well, guys, you know what? We are coming to the top of the half hour, and we just want to thank you guys for tuning in over there on Clubhouse and here on the live stream. We just really enjoyed the conversation. We hope that you will tune in again and join us. If you're looking for Coach Caren over here on Facebook, you can find her at Profits in Daily or under Caren Fern. That's Caren with a C. Fern. Also, Elizabeth has her profile over here on the Clubhouse. Liz, how can we find you if we're looking for you?
Okay, unmute myself again.
Yes.
You can find me at K Elizabeth Green, always on Instagram, and I am a spiritual geek. That's how I like to refer to myself. I believe that we can achieve whatever we want if we put our minds to it.
Fantastic. So, guys, also, if you're looking for Biz Chicks, we would love for you to become a part of our community. You can simply text us, and I'll be putting that up shortly as soon as I find that banner. You can find us at bizchicks.net. We would love to help you with your digital issues. Also, to join our community, you can text 33777. You can text Biz Chicks to that number and become a part of the Biz Chicks community. We'd love to send you a part of our standard operating procedure, send you a copy of that. And we want to remind you, as we thank Coach Caren and Liz Green for helping us out this morning, remember, go to the front of your
own line.
Bye-bye.